YOASOBI'S new EP, The Book 3. Why do I do this to myself? YOASOBI, if you don't know, is probably the single biggest musical act in Japan right now. They have crazy streaming numbers, and one of the songs on this EP, Idol, just demolished the record for most consecutive weeks at #1 on the Billboard charts. This is their third EP, all of which are just titled The Book, with the exact same cover, but in a different color. And it's bad. But it's not just normal bad. If it was normal bad, I could just move on with my life, and we wouldn't be here. This EP is a special kind of bad, because it is probably one of the most low-effort things I've ever heard. Like, no effort went into this. There's no creativity here. There is so little value in this EP, it hurts to listen to. First off, the most common critique of YOASOBI is that they have one song. And that critique is true. Just look at their first book EP. That is the same song 7 times. I've never heard anything else like it, except for the other 2 YOASOBI EPs that are also just the same song multiple times. Every song has basically the exact same structure and songwriting to it. They're almost indistinguishable at points. Secondly, there are 0 new songs on this EP, which, like, at that point, it shouldn't even count as an EP. The only new things on here are 2 45-second interludes that reuse parts of the other songs on this EP. Every single song here was released as a single. They couldn't even bother to make one new song for this thing. Instead, they just took some of the background noises from Idol and looped them for 45 seconds and said, good enough. It's just an unbelievable level of laziness all the way down. It starts at the cover and title, which are all identical. It then moves into the actual EP, where every single song on this is just a repackaged song they already released in the last year and a half. It then moves all the way down into the songwriting itself, which is horrendously generic and one note and identical to the point where it's hard to tell any of these songs apart. And that's why this is a special kind of bad that makes it hard to just ignore and leave alone. To quote someone on Rate Your Music, they are deliberately avoiding creativity, and they are also deliberately avoiding effort. They are a #1 hit music group that seems completely uninterested in music as any sort of art form. They are instead using it as a pure cash vehicle to push the same one song over and over again in front of different popular anime. And I could at least kind of halfway forgive them for that if that one song was good, but it isn't. When Yoru ni Kakeru, their initial big international hit, arrived on the scene, it felt fresh. I didn't vibe with it too much, but it was interesting and it had a cool enough sound. But by just releasing Yoru ni Kakeru 400 times, YOASOBI has completely diluted anything that made that song interesting in the first place. By the time you get to their next big international hit, Idol, the sound is just played out, and the general reaction from music fans seems to reflect that. They're a band that's not just refused to evolve or grow, but has actively embraced staying stuck in first gear. They have potential as a pop group, but they completely refuse to use any of it because they're too comfortable pushing the same stuff out, song after song, month after month, year after year, and it never changes. Before I get into reviewing the book 3, I just want to preface this by saying this is easily one of my least favorite things I've heard all year. And I gave the first book a decent score, but that was YOASOBI's first EP, and the individual songs were, for the most part, fine enough. Now that we're on the third one, and YOASOBI is trotting out their 35th iteration of the same thing, that becomes a lot less forgivable. And the songs have just generally become a lot worse too. Like, take the opener Yuusha. This is one of the better songs on this thing, and it's still not good. This is the opening to the anime Soso no Frieren, which, like basically every anime song YOASOBI does, is based on what was already a very popular series going in. This is just the YOASOBI formula, but even worse. Somehow the vocals here feel almost identical and also worse when compared to the first book EP. It sounds like she's just trying less. YOASOBI is trying to incorporate some trap-inspired production here, which sounds awful. The only kinda cool bit is the melodic choral singing in the background, but even that's been stolen from the 20,000 other J-pop groups that have done that before them, a lot of whom have done it better. That's not anything new or unique at all. Real quick, if you want to see a good use of that effect, check out Sanbika by Aruyure. That song is a nice palate cleanser after this mess. Next is the 45-second interlude Awakening. This is more of an EDM interlude than anything else. It's also the best sounding thing on this entire EP, so take that how you will, I guess. Following that is SHUKUFUKU, the opening to the most recent Gundam season. I actually watched that, it was pretty good. With that said, this opening does not fit the show at all. Like, that Gundam season is overall pretty dark, with very heavy storylines and romance and stuff. This is, in contrast, a very sterile and generic upbeat synth-pop song. And a contrast between the opening and the show can work, like take Death Parade's opening Flyers. But for that to happen, the opening has to be good. This one isn't. This song prominently includes one of YOASOBI'S most defining musical traits, which is a completely unnecessary +1 key change in the song's final chorus. This shift sounds like complete ass and ruins what was otherwise just a fairly boring J-pop song. There was so much opportunity to have a killer opening for this really cool Gundam season, and instead they went for one of the worst options imaginable. Unfortunate. The next song is海のまにまに, which is not from an anime, but was on their little compilation EP that they released back in May. So this is the third time now that YOASOBI has released this song. Again, they are incredibly lazy musicians. This at least sounds a little different. YOASOBI is forgoing their classic hyperactive nonsense to instead do a slower song featuring some funky bass. This is weird because it makes it sound less like a YOASOBI song and a lot more like a bad imitation of a Zutomayo song. Like, they wanted to do Zutomayo, but they were too lazy to do all the levels of instrumentation Zutomayo does, so they just slapped this out there. There really isn't that much of a difference because Zutomayo is the band that's most associated with YOASOBI, but it is noticeable. While the instrumentals are a bit different, the vocals are still the same. The melodies are the same ones that they've been trotting out every chance they get for the last 4 years. There's also not one, but 2 stupid key changes in the last minute and a half of this song. At least we've had one song so far in this EP without a key change, which is more than you can say about the first book EP. Next is Mr., which I guess is trying to mix it up a little in the instrumental department. It's a bit more of a new disco song, which is cool. I like new disco, but just like a lot of things with YOASOBI, this feels like the most corporate version of new disco ever created. And once again though, things are completely unchanged in the vocals department. This is still the exact same vocal style and melodies that they've been vomiting up since Yoru Nikakeru. Wikipedia describes this as a, quote, painfully ephemeral city pop song, which is interesting because it's not ephemeral or city pop. It is kind of painful though, so I guess they got one thing right. This is one of the more listenable songs here, but I think that's mostly just because I'm a sucker for new disco music. If I wasn't, I'd probably dislike this just as much as most of the other stuff here. Next is the interlude Worship, which is a minute long and mostly uses either stock sound effects, stock drum rolls, or things from the background of Idol. It's an incredibly low-effort addition to this EP that is just them slapping together random things they found on their hard drive. Speaking of Idol, I am already on record thinking this song is bad. It's the opening for another already incredibly popular anime series, that being Oshi no Ko. When I reviewed it for a short, I tried to be nice. I didn't want to be like, oh, this song is terrible, because I saw people were loving it and I don't really want to be that girl. However, this song has not only gotten more annoying every time I listen to it, but after hearing this whole EP, I don't really care anymore. This song is terrible. Every part of this feels disjointed. The verses to the breakdowns to the chorus, none of it connects at all. The chorus not only uses the same stylings as every other song on this EP, but it also goes on for so long, and none of it is good or catchy in any real way. They also bring that melodic chorus effect back. It sounded alright on the first track, but somehow they completely botch it here. It also has another pretty stupid instrumental key change. This song sucks. I have no idea how it got the insane popularity it did. This is more bad YOASOBI slop, and I can think of so many more deserving songs that were on the chart as this had its reign. Next is 17, which is a little more rock-oriented, but other than that, the instrumental is still super generic for this group. The vocals are, once again, basically the same as every other song. There's some interesting vocal effects sometimes, I guess. The stupid high-pitched chorus stuff starts in the first chorus instead of the last one. That's different. They are phoning it in so hard here. The melody is at least vaguely catchy. That's more than you can say about any other song on this EP. Also, at least there isn't too much of an awful pointless key change, although that's mostly because I don't think she can actually sing any higher than she already does in the first chorus. There's really not much else to say. It's just bad. Next, it's Adventure, which is yet again more extremely boring YOASOBI slop. I'm really wishing this EP was over at this point, but sadly there is another song after this. This is probably their most generic song on the entire EP. There is nothing here that breaks from the YOASOBI mold in any way, aside from, I guess there's a guitar? They only do that on like a third of their songs instead of all of them. That's the most different thing here. The vocals are the same, the production is the same, there's another completely horrendous sounding key change. It sucks! This is definitely one of the worst songs on this thing, because there are no redeeming qualities to this whatsoever. And then mercifully we get to the last song, SUKI. I literally do not know what to say about this that hasn't already been said 5 times in this video. YOASOBI seems to be doing a bit more of a western mid-2000s Katy Perry pop impression here, so despite the identical production choices, there's at least a bit more variety. Also, the hooks are pretty good on this song for the first time all EP, and I respect their decision to do a mostly instrumental chorus. There's some things you can take out of this one. Once again though, YOASOBI is still deploying the most generic pop structure imaginable, and they also once again do a completely stupid key change because they genuinely do not know how to write a song without a terrible key change at the end. That brings us to 7 key changes in 8 songs on this EP. I'm pretty sure that's actually the least on any of their EPs, because the first book EP was a perfect 7 for 7 on key changes. So yeah, there's the book 3. I hope I've done a decent job of conveying to you just how painful this is to listen to, and how little creativity is on display at any point in this project. You can barely even call it a project. It's a bunch of songs slapped together for commercial reasons. I'm going to give this the lowest score I've ever given anything on this channel. YOASOBI'S The Book 3 gets a 2.5 out of 10. It's awful, it's terrible, it sucks. I regret listening to any part of this because I got absolutely nothing of value out of it. Usually when I listen to something and it's not very good, at least I tried. At least I tried out a new band's sound, or I'm hearing something I don't usually listen to. I feel like I've already heard every song here 20 times before. There's no point in listening to this. It's a complete waste of 30 minutes, and if you do want to listen to it, you can just listen to the first book EP instead, because that one is at least listenable, and all the songs are the same. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with probably more positive videos soon. I could review the new Tokutaru Hosoi if y'all want. That's a good record. It'd probably be more fun to talk about than YOASOBI. Thank you for watching. Bye.